Agile or Waterfall? Which one should you follow? Here's the truth. Most project managers fail not because they pick the wrong methodology, but because they lack a structured, repeatable approach to managing projects. And that's exactly what I'm giving you today, a proven step-by-step blueprint that brings the structure and predictability of Waterfall, while staying flexible enough for Agile teams. This isn't some rigid framework. It's a modern, hybrid approach designed for IT projects. It ensures that no matter what kind of project you are running, you can consistently deliver results without the chaos. By the end of this video, you'll have a practical system you can use to manage any IT project from start to finish, without the headaches, without the missed deadlines, and without the constant firefighting. Let's dive in. When I started managing IT projects, I could find myself right in the middle of a constant battle. On one side, business stakeholders wanted predictability. They needed clear timelines, cost estimates, and firm delivery dates so they could plan marketing campaigns, align sales efforts, and ensure profitability. On the other side, engineering teams wanted flexibility. They wanted to stay agile, work in Scrum, iterate quickly, and adapt to evolving priorities without being locked into rigid plans. At first, I thought this was just a simple conflict between business versus engineering, but I quickly realized this conflict existed within the business side itself. Sales and marketing wanted structure, roadmaps, and clear product launches. Executives and investors wanted adaptability because in a competitive market, they needed the ability to pivot quickly to secure deals, respond to new opportunities, or adjust to sudden business needs. So here I was, caught between conflicting priorities. Some stakeholders wanted a solid plan before any development began. Others wanted to move fast and figure things out along the way. Meanwhile, the engineering team just wanted clear priorities and stability to do their job well. And as a project manager, I had to make it all work simultaneously. At first, I tried managing projects using additional agile methods, where the product owner and the team work closely, defining the solution as they go. This approach is great for product planning, short iterations, and fast feedback loops, but it has serious limitations when your company needs financial projections. How much will this project cost? What's the return on investment? You're working on a bigger long-term roadmap. How do you justify resource allocation when things keep changing? Your stakeholders demand predictability. How do you manage expectations without over-promising? And the bigger the project, the harder it became to maintain agility while keeping stakeholders satisfied. On the other hand, a rigid, waterfall-like plan wasn't the answer either. If you overplan, you lose the adaptability, which kills innovation. If you commit too early, you risk wasting months building something that no longer makes sense. I realized that neither extreme works in isolation, so I started experimenting. I tested ways to blend structure with agility, to build a repeatable framework that kept projects predictable while staying adaptable to change. And over time, I discovered a hybrid approach that satisfied both sides. It provided structure and planning for business needs. It kept agile flexibility for engineering teams. And most importantly, it worked across different projects and teams, creating repeatable success. And that's exactly what I'm sharing with you today. Now, let's break it down step by step. Every successful IT project follows the same three fundamental steps: scope definition, planning, and execution. And here's the key. Whether you realize it or not, every project you manage will go through these stages. If you skip one, or if you do them in the wrong order, you'll end up with chaos, delays, or wasted effort. That's why I follow this repeatable blueprint, so that every project runs smoothly, no matter how complex it is. Now, let's go deeper into each stage, starting with scope definition. Most project failures start here, because teams don't take enough time to properly define scope before jumping into execution. Scope definition has two key parts. Requirement analysis. This is where you gather stakeholders' requests and analyze them. Ask the right questions to truly understand the project's objectives. Clarify what success actually means for both the business and the users. This is the foundation of your project. If you don't understand why the project exists, you can't effectively manage it. Next is functional specification. This is the most common mistake that agencies and teams make. They assume they can figure out things as they go. Wrong. If you don't have a structured document outlining expected outcomes, you will lose track of what you are trying to achieve. Different team members will have different interpretations of what needs to be built. People will forget key decisions that were made early on. The project will slowly drift away from the original vision. This is why documentation, even lightweight documentation, is so important. It provides clarity for everyone involved. Once you have a well-defined scope, you move into the next stage, planning. Now that you know what needs to be built, the next question is, how do we build it? Breaking it down into actionable tasks, dividing work into manageable tasks, estimating how long each task will take, creating an initial roadmap for delivery. But here's the critical part. This is where you must stay agile. If you realize the solution will take months to build, you need to stop and reevaluate. This is your opportunity to reduce the scope, break it down into smaller iterations, and adjust the approach before the project gets out of control. This is where you and your stakeholders make smart trade-offs. At this stage, you need to align with stakeholders on priorities, adjust functionality to fit business needs, decide what to build first versus what can wait. The biggest mistake you can make here is locking into a rigid plan too early. Instead, keep it structured but flexible, so that it can adapt as needed. Once you have a plan that makes sense, you're ready for execution. This is where things start moving. But execution isn't just about doing the work. It's about managing the process efficiently. Here we have two key elements. First is development coordination. You need a delivery framework. Will you use Scrum? Will you use Kanban? Will you use a simple task list with check-ins? The method doesn't matter as much as having a system in place. What does matter is daily work coordination, so stand-up syncs, etc. Regular progress reviews against the plan. Checkpoints to realign with business goals. Second element of execution is risk management. Risk management is not just about avoiding failure. It's about staying ahead of surprises. Throughout the execution, you need to regularly check how the project is tracking against the plan, identify risks early, and adjust before they become major issues. Make sure that changes or blockers don't derail the overall timeline. And now the overarching and arguably the most important skill, stakeholder management. One of the biggest misconceptions in project management is that you define the scope once and then go heads down to deliver it. Wrong. Your stakeholders must stay engaged throughout the entire project. This doesn't mean they need to be involved in daily execution, but they should. Be kept informed of key progress updates. Validate that the project is staying aligned with the business goals. Have an opportunity to adjust direction if necessary. Because here's the reality. If you wait until the end to check with stakeholders, you risk discovering major misalignments too late. Instead, keeping them in the loop ensures no surprises at delivery, no wasted work, no last-minute panic, and that's how you successfully manage IT projects every time. Now here's the key takeaway. Every successful IT project follows these 3 stages, whether teams realize it or not. The mistake most teams make is doing them in random order, jumping straight to execution without defining the scope, creating a rigid plan before validating feasibility, ignoring stakeholders until the last minute. When you follow this blueprint, your projects become predictable, repeatable, and successful. And this brings us to the final part. How do we keep this process agile? What makes it flexible? That's exactly what I'll cover next. Now, you've probably already seen hints of how to make this approach agile. At its core, agile isn't just about sprints, stand-ups, or backlogs. The real essence of agile is being able to adapt quickly, to respond to market changes, business needs, and real-world opportunities as they arise. And that means one thing. You can't afford to wait months before delivering something valuable. If your business stakeholders need to change direction or release a feature fast, your framework must support that flexibility without breaking the structure of your project. So how do we do this? The key is to making this work happens between the scope definition and planning phases. This is where you divide your project into smallest deliverable pieces that make sense, without losing business value. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Imagine you're building a website for a coffee shop that wants to offer online ordering, so customers can skip the line and have their coffee delivered to their table. At first glance, this seems straightforward. You need a website, you need a registration and login, you need an account management system, you need an ordering system, you need a tracking system for orders. Seems logical, right? But here's the problem. If you try to build everything at once, it will take months before customers can use any of it. So instead of following a linear approach, we restructure the project in an agile way. Step 1. Deliver something valuable as fast as possible. Instead of waiting months for the full system, what's the first thing we can deliver that already brings value? A simple website. Even before online ordering is ready, customers will benefit from seeing the menu, pricing, and location details. So the first agile release is a basic static website with a menu, because it already serves a purpose. Step 2. Challenge the assumption that login is required. Most people assume that before you can place an order, you need a login system. But do you? Setting up user accounts, databases, and authentication is one of the most complex parts of the system. So, what if we skipped it for now? Instead of forcing users to create an account, we could simply let them order as guests. They simply enter their name, pick a coffee, pay, and take their order. Now we launch an ordering system much faster, because we are not wasting time on features that aren't immediately necessary. Step 3. Add more features. Gradually, once the basic ordering system works, then we enhance it. We introduce user accounts, we add order tracking, we optimize the experience based on real customer feedback. Instead of waiting months for a perfect system, we release value incrementally. This way, customers get real benefits sooner and the business can start seeing results immediately. If we had followed the traditional approach, we would have spent weeks or months working on complex user authentication, a database-heavy account system, features that don't immediately drive business value. And all that time, the stakeholders would be waiting without any usable product. But by thinking agile, we deliver value sooner as a working ordering system, prioritize what really matters first, adapt and iterate based on real customer feedback. Now, this copy shop example may sound simple, but the same principle applies to every IT project. Instead of planning for months, focus on delivering value in the shortest time possible. Break large projects into smaller, high-impact pieces. Challenge assumptions about what must come first. And most importantly, make sure your process allows you to adapt quickly when business needs change. Because that's what makes this framework truly agile. Now let's wrap it up. So, Agile isn't about skipping planning. It's about structuring it differently. The key to staying agile is breaking down projects into the smallest valuable pieces. By delivering value sooner, you keep stakeholders engaged and reduce risk. Now, if you found this useful and want to go even deeper, you're going to love my full course on IT project management. In the course, I break down each stage of a project in detail, giving you a clear step-by-step guide on what to do, when to do it, and how to ensure the project's success. If you want a structured, repeatable system for managing IT projects, check out the link in the comments. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the course.